So good morning, everyone. And as always, I am thrilled to see all of you and just welcome to our beloved community. I am the Reverend Dr. Candice Becket. I'm the GAP minister here in Ukiah, California at Centers for Spiritual Living, Ukiah. So I am welcoming you just as your physical people, but I'm also welcoming your hearts and your souls, because I know that everyone who is present here today is here for a reason, and it is to open our hearts, open our souls, and whatever it is that you are seeking, I am also knowing that somewhere in the music, the message, the treatment, that you are now open and ready and willing to accept that good. So just sit back, be in that position of acceptance and enjoy. We'll begin with our opening treatment, which will be given by Bonnie Callan. So Bonnie, unmute yourself and take it away.
Oh, good morning. Let's all take a nice deep breath. Close your eyes if you so desire. And as we breathe in, we become aware of the life within us, the life that is God. That thing that animates us, that creates what we perceive as our lives. And know as you feel that through your body that you are a conduit for that. We are what bring that aliveness to our physical world. And as we sit in that awareness, I can only speak for me, but I am grateful for that. I am grateful in that. I am grateful for life, for health, for abundance, for love. And all of that is God at work in my life. I am open to receiving that every single day. As I open my eyes every morning, I know that I am blessed with a brand new baby day full of whatever adventures it brings, full of sunshine and happiness, love of my friends and my family, and my ability to do all the things that I do, to love all the things that I love, to be everything that I am. And I know for everyone here, as well as myself, that our lives are open for us to make whatever of them we wish, whatever we desire can be ours. We just need to be aware of it. And so I release this into the mind of God, knowing that it's all falling into place exactly as it should, that there is infinite good, infinite love, infinite abundance in this world that was created just for me. And I let myself be aware of this and let this be so. And so it is.
Thank you so much. That's really beautiful. I'm a little taken aback. I loved that, Bonnie. Thank you so much. And so now we'll have a song from Madge. So Madge.
Okay. Still trying to decide which order to do this in. I think I'll do the slightly more challenging in that I want you all, I'm going to put this in the chat, which some of you are already familiar with my song called From the Earth. And I encourage you to stand up or do it in place, whichever. And I'm going to try to make the motions and drum at the same time. But it has motions that go with the song. Let's see if we can do this. From the earth. I guess you can see me, sort of. Okay. All right. And the key of the drum is good for the melody if you're a fairly high voice. So I'm going to do it first in the melody, which is from the earth to the sky above. And then I'm going to switch to a lower harmony. So if you are singing along and you sing the melody, which is what I'm singing first, you will hear harmonies, which is always nice, especially in this world of not being able to sing together very often of COVID. So I encourage you to do that. And again, I'm just going to do the first time through in the melody, and then I'm going to switch to a low harmony. Okay, here goes. From the earth to the sky above, for us all, I give my love. From the earth to the sky above, for us all, I give my love. I give my love. I give my love. I breathe the air, returning home from everywhere. You stay on the melody. I give my love. I breathe the air, returning home from everywhere, and from my roots, and from my roots, strong branches grow, and from the sea I learned to flow, and from my roots, strong branches grow, and from the sea I learned to flow. We are the flow. We are the flow. We are the ebb. We are the weavers. We are the web. We are the flow. We are the ebb. We are the weavers. We are the web. We are the weavers. We are the web. That's in honor of Earth Week and Earth Year and Earth Century. And every single day and hour is in honor of the Earth. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Madge. That was really wonderful.
I hope you could make harmonies out there.
Make harmonies, yeah. Okay. Well, moving right along. Just, I kind of like that song specifically because the topic today is the winds of change, and I'm going to start with just something that happened to me in the last week. I've been trying to walk every day and been pretty good at that. But last week I was out and I was walking, and this person, I think she was more like power walking and kind of a half jog, half walking this really fast. And she was behind me, and I was kind of aware that she was there, and she was coming up, and just about the time she got next to me, like I just thought she was going to go out past, but then in a very relaxed and a very gentle voice, she says, "You feel that? That's the beginning of a wind. That's the wind of change. Pay attention." And off she went. And I didn't really pay attention at that moment. I did think she was a little quirky, and but I just sort of let it go, and I was busy thinking about, what my next thing was going to be and what else I was going to do that day. So within a few steps she was gone, and so was the statement that she had made, until that night. And I was getting ready for bed, and it was quiet, and then all of a sudden this, "Pay attention, that's the wind of change. Feel that?" All came pouring back in, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. Basically, I think she's right. There is a wind of change, and it is starting to blow. For us, it's actually even a little obvious, because after a year of shelter in place, things are starting to shift again. And I don't know about anybody else, but I don't think we can go back. I think the only direction for us is forward. So, oh, sure, we can at this point go out and eat in a restaurant or go to the gym, and very soon start meeting again at the center, that kind of thing. But I also know deep in my heart, deep in my soul, that even as those things start to unfold for me and for you, I know for myself that I have shifted, I have changed. And I believe that that change is going to continue. So during this whole shelter in place time, I have done my best to stay focused on the now. But I will also admit that as focused as I try to be, I get distracted. I get distracted by the news, I get distracted by people's opinions, and I forget. So then I refocus. And one of the things that occurred to me in this last week, that my focus has not been so much on being happy as it has on being peaceful, remaining calm, being an answer. So mostly that can happen for me when I remember who I really am. So just last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago, I don't know. But I share a lot of memes and have a question of the day every day on my Facebook page. And one of the memes that I posted had a quote by Cynthia Ochelli, and she said, "For the seed to achieve its greatest expression, it must come completely undone. The shell cracks, the insides come out, and everything changes." To someone who doesn't understand growth, it would look like a complete destruction. So I really let that speak to me in the last few days. And I began to imagine that apparent self-destruction that we may actually think we are seeing right now. It's very apparent. Things appear to still be falling apart. Things are cracking up. And that can be really intimidating. But I have a dear friend that you guys are getting to know vicariously through me, but it's Reverend Dr. David Bruner. And he has made some suggestions on how to change and what are the steps for change. So one of those, and I'm going to do my best here. There, I put it in the chat. These are like his 3 steps that he talked about in a service, and it's locate, resist, and allow. So let me take you a little deeper into those 3 ideas of being ready for change. And he said the first thing we need to do is locate the disruption, to locate that place of uncomfortable. And I know for myself that I can often, when I'm uncomfortable, I will do everything in my power to not pay attention to that disruption that's going on in my life. And we can point at the disruption or the inconvenience or the discomfort. But then when we point at it as something big, bad, and unchangeable, we forget that there isn't anything big, bad, or unchangeable, that everything is just in its mode of rediscovery and recreation. So, in truth, it's only when we're willing to locate the disruption, I'm having trouble with the word today. But when we're willing to locate it, it is in that now moment that we can actually do something about it. And David had this really interesting comment when he was talking about the locate step. And he said, if we are spiritually mature, we know that once we locate the disruption, we can use it. For the awareness of it is the beginning of the change. However, for the spiritually immature, when we have that location, when we find it and feel it, there can be a really big sense of fear, and we can even feel abused by it. So to ask, which am I? Am I being spiritually mature about these changes that I'm looking straight at, or am I being abused and fearful around them? But the bottom line is, in order to change, we must first locate the thing that wants to be acknowledged and changed. So that brings us on to step 2, which is resist. So I'm going to have to ask you to just hang in here with me for a minute, because this is going to sound a little weird, but just hang in there with me. Because what we're going to resist is we're going to resist the order. We're going to resist the old order, and we're going to seek the disorder. And I know that seems really counterintuitive, but this is where we resist staying the same and become aware that we are the seed, and that seed within us is cracking in order for something new to emerge and for us to become more fully formed. So resist the urge to be too comfortable. Resist the urge to stay the same just because it's known. Become completely undone in your transformation. So this is kind of this little mini assignment in here for you if you wish to move forward. So again, resist the urge to be comfortable. If your goal is to be comfortable, you won't get the benefits of the change. So take a look at today, just today. Don't even try to do this all week or anything, but just go, am I comfortable with this? And see what the answer comes up for you, because you're going to probably find out that some of the discomfort in your life is what is calling you forward, is calling you to change. Which brings us to step 3, which is allow. So what this is about is allowing the winds of change to blow and let that direct you. We have a minister, a CSL minister in Geneva, Switzerland, and in the last week or so, she posted on our listserv, which is just the ministers. And I don't know, there's several hundred of us that are on this listserv. But I happened to catch her post this one day, and she was talking about fishermen in a place pretty close to her, but it's this huge lake. And these fishermen, before they go, or as they're getting into their boats to go out to fish for the day, they look for where the wind is making little ripples on the surface of the water. And it's their goal to reach that place where there is disturbance, because the wind is disturbing the water. And they reach it by rowing, or they have small motors, outboard motors on their little boats. But when they get to the disturbance, they open their sails, and the wind fills those sails, and off they go to wherever they want to be in the lake. But it isn't unless they're willing to enter into the disturbance that they can ever get there. So that is how we need to treat the winds of change in our lives, is to start to recognize that these are the things that are going to move us forward. In the Science Mind textbook, in fact, this is the bottom of 119 and goes up to the top of 120, Dr. Holmes writes this: the reason that we do not demonstrate more easily is that the subjective, or our unconscious state of thought, is too often neutralized by the objective or conscious state of mind. Though often this is an unconscious process of thought. So let me just stop there for a second. So I think most of you that are on the call today already understand that, you know, our subconscious state of mind, that's where our memory is, and that's where the happy medium is. When we are doing our treatments and we're setting that into that subconscious place of mind, often our conscious state of mind will argue with it and talk us out of the good that we're trying to establish. And that is an unconscious process. We're not even aware we're doing it. We do our treatments, we feel great, and then 10 minutes later, we've talked ourselves out of the treatment, and everything seems to be in disarray again. So that's a really important thing to start to acknowledge, is that we're kind of not seeing the success we want, not demonstrating the way we want, because of this unconscious process going on in our heads. So then he goes on and he says, whatever our subconscious mind holds long enough is bound to be produced in our external affairs. So that's why we have to, so break there again, that's why we have to really pay attention. And the second we hear the distraction, the disruption kind of coming back up, we have to say no to it, say it firmly, say, this is where I now stand, and reinforce that new thought. And then he goes on to say, it follows then that any suggestion held in creative mind would produce its logical result, no matter what such a suggestion might be. If it were a suggestion of destruction, it will destroy. If it were a suggestion of good, it would construct. For this is a neutral field. So again, this is kind of, I think all of you know this, but the universe is just saying yes. And whatever we're feeding into this neutral field, whether it's something that lifts us or something that holds us back, the universe is going to say yes. So there's nothing to be annoyed about, nothing to, there's no one to be angry with. We're just doing this ourselves. So we need to know the nature of the law. And as Jesus did not say, it is done unto you as you wish, It is not done unto you as you think it should be. It is not done unto you by your manipulation, but he announced a universal law and did say, it is done unto you as you believe. So in short, God, the universal intelligence, gives what we affirm, and there is no alternative to that. It either interrupt it, or no, that's not what I mean. It neither interrupts nor judges what we are affirming as good for us or not. It doesn't make those decisions for it. It just says yes. So where does the focus have to happen? It has to happen right here within our own hearts, within our own minds. For the creation, or creation is described in all religions, but it's also there's definitions for creation in philosophy and science. And so we need to figure out how we want to create, and we need to focus on that. So again, my dear friend, Reverend Dr. David Bruner, has come up with a way to do that, to look at creation. And he says, so I'm going to try to put this in the chat for you too, so you can see this. Okay, there you go. He says that this is a 4-step process, and so to create something new, we need to move from breakdown to breakthrough. So his steps, and I'll just read them through really quick, is first you have to have a breakdown, which is the recognition that something isn't working right. So big breakdown, little breakdown. Second, you need to ponder the possibilities. Once you're breaking down, you have to ponder the possibilities of what can happen here. Next is take action with at least one or maybe more of the possibilities. And then when you do that, you have a breakthrough. So that seems pretty simplistic, but that's really all there is. But of course, I'm a minister, so I'm going to give you a little bit more detail. So back to number 1, have a breakdown. Again, this seems really counterintuitive. Aren't we supposed to avoid those things? And the second we see them, make them go away. So I know that the recognition that a breakdown it can be necessary can also seem really scary. But having a breakdown is also about locating the disorder, the disruption. And at the same time, while we're in the breakdown, resist the urge to move away, hide from it, and simply just allow it to be. Now, I'm not saying you have to wallow in it either, but you have to see it and acknowledge it. And then ask it why are you here for me now? Which is the ponder the possibilities. So that moves us on to the next step. And so this might begin with the possibility that God will interfere, will move in or intervene and fix all the stupid people. That probably is not going to serve us very, very well, but you could ponder that. But it's probably better if instead you consider you as a spiritual being, what you might be willing to do to move forward. For me, this step of pondering the possibilities calls me to a place of deep listening. So that's both listening inwardly, listening to my highest self, my intuition, whatever you want to call that. But it's also listening outwardly, for I can start to declare for myself in this pondering the possibilities, that there are going to be messages that come to me easily, and then I just need to start to look for them, which actually takes us on to step 3, which is take action with those possibilities. If you are declaring something like there are answers available to me and I am open to them, and you start listening deeply, then you need to also be ready to recognize the action is be ready, because those are going to come to you, and they come to you, or at least for me, they come to me in odd ways. I'll just hear a phrase that's completely out of context of a conversation, but it's exactly what I needed to hear. So listening, reading inspirational material is also an action. You may be led to volunteer, to change jobs, to start a blog, to learn a new language, join a gym. These are all actions. And for some of us, some of these have actually kind of been on the edge of our consciousness for a long time, and it just keeps coming up. And now suddenly take an action, sign up, be in a class, do the thing that you have been being encouraged to do. And sometimes it doesn't seem like it makes sense. How is, me taking, learning a new language, how is that going to help me get through this discord in my life right now? And I can tell you, sometimes it is just getting into the class and somebody will say something, and there you go. It's like starting to trust the universe that any step it gives us will lead to a next step is so important. So we have to be willing to first take the action with those possibilities. So even when that first step seems really, really small, what I know is that it will lead us to the next and the next, and so on and so on and so on. So you can do something, no matter what kind of pops up for you. Just look at it and take that next step. Remember, avoid being too comfortable. Go ahead and do something that you thought you could never do before. But that leads us, once we start taking those steps and we are getting led, we have a breakthrough. Again, this can be small or can be huge. But part of what has happened for me pretty recently was I was following this example one day, and I had something happen, and I remember my reaction to it was, well, that wasn't so bad. It's like, that was easy. So one of the things is, particularly because some of your breakthroughs are going to be small to begin with, and then they kind of accumulate, and you start seeing greater and greater outcomes. But the deal is to notice, to not just go, oh, well, that was lucky, but to notice that this is a breakthrough for you, that this is a demonstration for you, and then to appreciate it. I have started my little conversation with God almost every day with, or during every day, with the acknowledgement of just thank you. Sometimes when I notice the breeze or the smell of the jasmine outside, and I'm just like, oh, thank you for that. And what I know is the more I notice and the more I appreciate the things that are going right in my life, the more breakthrough I have, and the more that continues for me. So having said all of that, basically, here it is. See the breakdown, but not, if you're willing to see the breakdown, but you're not willing to ponder it, instead you go back to maybe an old pattern of looking for the people that agree with you about how awful everything is, and we just continue to complain. Not being willing to ponder, that means that there isn't going to be a new action for us to take. And if we don't take the new action, there's no breakthrough. So instead, ponder by considering this, even, and I've been doing this for a couple of weeks now, and it has um, changed my practice. I don't know what else to say, but you know, I don't want to make it overly big, but it's changed my life. You know? And so, in my pondering, when something isn't going the way, and this can be something small like not getting my way about what we're having for dinner, to, much larger things, I just stop and consider, this has come to my attention, my experience, so that I may, and then I let my intuition fill in that blank. So start thinking about that. Start considering, even in your discomfort, this has come to my attention, my experience, so that I may. Sometimes it's like know a bigger truth, but just by knowing a bigger truth, something else occurred, and suddenly my pondering is taking me to a whole new level of possibilities. So I think for me anyway, right now, what I know is there is no going back to what I was. And I don't believe that there's any going back to what any of you have been up until now. I'm pretty sure I don't want to go back. That might be a good assignment for the day. Contemplate that. What is it that you really want to have happen here? But remember that this is the moment we have been waiting for. The winds of change are blowing. Let your sails be open. We are here for a time such as this to rise up and be the greatest possibility that we can imagine ourselves to be. So declare your greatest self and be the change. Take a deep breath with me. And we'll move into a treatment. And I'll be giving this treatment in the first person. So know this truth for yourself as it is spoken right now. And if you're comfortable, close your eyes or go into soft eyes. And know this with me. There is only one life. That life is God. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. And so today I am open. I am open with the idea that I live in a creation that is God expressing all the time in all circumstances, right here, right now. And I take comfort in knowing that my singular life is always supported by a law that is infinitely intelligent, that is expressing as me, by me, through me. And that presence that God is to me is waiting for my recognition of it, and thereby opening me to an abundance of possibilities, a greater idea of who and what I am. I can notice patterns of thought that I do not want to keep showing up, and I can stop those thoughts, those reactions. For today, I choose to work with my source to create the life I want to experience. I can build on parts of my life, and I can turn away from that which no longer serves me. My life begins this moment, regardless of what has gone before. This day I know my good. I know my good is there for me and that I ought to have it. I name my good and I begin a new life right here, right now. I am health in my body and my spirit. I am success in my work and my personal life. I am prosperous in all ways and I am love in every relationship. The life of God that I am living each day gives me power to say, to support, and do what I know I want to do. This is my good. The most powerful thought I can have is the one that convinces me to my core that God is my only source, my only supply, and that moves me forward. My oneness with the power of the universe brings the wisdom I use to direct the law in the way that will bring the highest good to me and to my planet. With great gratitude, I allowed this wind to blow in my life to carry me forward, and I accept the action that I am guided to take and take it. I am grateful that this is so, and so it is. So take a deep breath. So thank you for being a part of my reconnection with God today. And so now we're going to move into our offering. And so, as always, I just ask that, well, I don't ask, I affirm that all of you that are present here today are a part of what is making this work, this center, and our ongoing time together, and how grateful I am, and I know everyone else here is, that you are a part of making this work for us. So here is our offering information. So please say with me now: divine love through me blesses and multiplies this gift. With all my heart and with all my mind, I know that I'm saying yes to something I value. With all others present here, we dedicate these gifts to the values and vision we share. So it is. Okay, so we have a couple of announcements. Nothing terribly exciting or new, but here we go. We are entering a really important next steps, which we are moving towards reopening, which will look like we'll be able to be meeting at least on a limited basis at the center, and maybe as soon as June 1st. Um, but it's really important, and the board has been discussing this, that as we look at moving back into the center, that we also make sure that in including people that haven't really joined in on the Zoom calls, that we don't alienate any of the people that want to continue the Zoom call. So live streaming is really important. So if you know anything about equipment, or you have a desire to help, this might be one of the things that will be a possibility for you. Would be to learn to do the monitoring of services or other events that we might have, please let us know. And probably the best way is to just email me, or you can call the center, but to let us know. We do have a couple of people who are starting to come forward and say yes to different little things that are important to the opening, but we have a lot of other things that still have to happen. So even if you just want to have a discussion about it, or feel free to call me and we can talk about it. But we do want to move forward on this. We're not going to stay the same. We're going to move forward. So so be a part of that, and let's see where we could go. The other thing is the selection committee. So we are looking to reestablish a selection committee to look for the new senior minister for Center for Spiritual Living here in Ukiah. And if you would like to participate, please let me know. I will be serving on that committee kind of in an ex officio, which helps because I'll be the go-between between that committee and CSL. And because I know those people, I can navigate through there pretty well. But we do need at least one just member, and pretty much anybody on this call today could be that person. We also need a practitioner and we need a board member. Now we have had a couple of people that are on the board, already volunteer, and that's great. We'll probably go ahead and include them, but we do need a few more people to really make this around and make sure that all aspects of the congregation are a part of the selection committee. So again, if you could let me know, you can either send me an email or call me, that would be great. We still are supporting building bridges. So most of you have heard this, which we just make this every week just as a reminder. You can drop stuff off at Teresa Stabers. You can drop stuff off at Trudy Morgan's. You can drop stuff off at Building Bridges on State Street. So whichever one works for you, just do it, and let's just keep going and making sure that everyone has a place, a safe place to sleep and to be welcomed at night. Okay, so that's it for our announcements for this week. Oh, next week we'll have another guest speaker. Her name is Kim, and I've forgotten her last name, but Kim will be here next week. She actually will be zooming in from Grants Pass in Oregon. So she's actually pretty close to us. She's her classmates, her main study place is at the San Diego Holmes Institute. So we're getting them from all over the country, which is very cool. And so far, they're all willing to do other things with us too. Like they're all willing to be on our guest speaker list, and so we will probably see some of them later, which brings us back to being able to live stream from the center so that we could people could be there and still see them without them having to come in from long distances. So very excited. And I talked to Kim just a couple of days ago. She seems great. I'm really excited for you all to meet her next Sunday. So be sure to be here. Okay, so Madge, could you give us a song?
Well, I had a different song in mind, but your words inspired me instantly to change to Holly Near's song, I Am Willing. And it's just so perfect with your message of today. So couldn't resist. And in her, oh, I'm going to put up the chorus words in the chat. So you can definitely sing along on the chorus or any of the other parts that you know. Her verses are a little bit more sort of the negative, the things that disturb us, but the chorus is absolutely the affirmation. of accepting the winds of change. Her words were the light of change, but it's absolutely the same. So I'm going to do winds because that's what we're saying. Let's see. It's major. I am willing. I'm open. Sorry. Start again. I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us, so lift me up to the light of change. There is hurting in my family, and there is sorrow in my town. There is panic all across the nation. There is wailing the whole world round. But I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the winds of change. May the children see more clearly, and may the elders be more wise. May the winds of change caress us, even though it burns our eyes. But I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us, so lift me up to the winds of change. Give me a mighty oak to hold my confusion. Give me a desert to hold my fears. Give me a sunset to hold my wonder. Give me an ocean to hold my tears. I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us, so lift me up to the light of change. So lift me up to the winds of change.
Oh, thank you, Madge.
When we
from
did
Pauline
trios,
here.
when we performed as a trio, I couldn't just change songs like that because we would rehearse it. But that song just had to go with this day. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Well, and I appreciate that. I love that song, first of all. And so just thank you. And thank you to all of you for being a part of my Sunday morning. And I enjoyed being a part of yours. And I know that before us is a great week. Allow those winds of change to fill your sails and move you forward. You can hang out for a little bit, please do. And in the meantime, know that you are loved. Namaste.